Hey, everybody, a great new podcast guest with me here today, Jule Kim. Please introduce your awesome self to my audience.
Thanks so much, Francesca. Hi, everyone. My name is Jule, and I live in the Seattle area. I work as a life coach, and primarily I help people with their mindset, especially for overcoming imposter syndrome. I help people quit people pleasing and set better boundaries.
Yeah, I love that, Jule. And in fact, everyone who's out there listening, that's how Jule and I met. It was just interesting how when we're learning together, we get to meet people that are like-minded. And that's what I saw in Jule. And I want to thank you for the time that you're taking today to talk to the audience, because when we last met and then, a few moments ago in the green room, we're like, Joel, I need to bring back that amazing analogy that you brought up. And I'm going to let you say, but it's something about really understanding who you are and where you are. So please, let's launch into this story because I think it's so cool.
All right. Yeah. So, what's interesting is I recently released a TikTok video, like just a few days ago, and it was on the subject of how to change a negative mindset, like the first step to changing a negative mindset. And in the video, I talked about how with my mom, and I think, our previous conversation, like you could relate, my mom is incredibly negative. And when I just sort of pointed this out to her, to my mom, that, hey, mom, I don't know if you realize, but a lot of what you talk about, like more than 90% of what you're always talking about, is how something is wrong, like how what other people are doing is wrong and how other people are wrong, doing something wrong to you. And so my mom's response was, all right, I'll fix this. And I was like, Mom, I'm not asking you to fix anything. I'm just asking you to look at yourself. Like, just take a few days and watch what you choose to always talk about, because what you focus on is what you get more of, right? You get more of what you focus on.
Yeah.
And and so I posted that video talking about that, and all these people in the comments were like, practice gratitude, that'll rewire your brain. And I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. So it's not that I don't love gratitude. I absolutely love gratitude. I believe in the power of gratitude. But here's the thing, when we say things like that, we are trying to shift ourselves to a future destination without first looking at where we are now. And so
Yep.
the analogy that I know you were referring to a second ago was, I like to tell people, if you've ever seen one of those maps in like the airport or like a mall, right? You're like, where's the store or where's the restaurant I'm trying to get to? And so if you notice in those maps, there's always a little marker that says you are here. And so, of course, like, how would you know how to get to the restaurant or to your store if you don't know where you are right now? And so that's probably one of the biggest maybe mistakes or mistaken beliefs that I find people have, is they are so unwilling to look at where they are now because it's just uncomfortable. It feels icky, it's just not great, right? Whatever is
Yeah.
going on, they just want to rush to getting to the future state where they think they're going to be happier. They think they're going to magically practice gratitude and just gratitude their way out of whatever their situation
Right.
is now. And so that's really the thing, is like, yeah, absolutely. We want you to get to that future state. We want you to be happy. We want you to be successful. We want you to find your purpose. We want you to stop feeling imposter syndrome. We want you to stop feeling so negative all the time. But in order to get those things, like, let's take a look at what's happening for you right now. And then let's unpack some of that, because what I have found is with my clients, if they just keep going to that future state and they're like, I'm just going to sweep it all under the rug and I'm just going to keep looking at that, eyes on the prize, it's
Mm.
it's like a bungee cord effect. They go to the thing, they're like, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be less negative, and it lasts for like a few days or like a week.
Right.
And then, like a bungee cord, you snap right back. And it's because you did not actually solve, you did not actually resolve and heal the things that are going on in your life right now.
Wow, it is so much of what we do in the coaching practice, Joel. I love everything that you said. Ultimately, it's understanding that awareness within ourselves. That's what you're speaking to. Like, you are here. This is an awareness, whether it's your mother, whoever, and just using that and understanding. And then, as we learned, reframing or shifting, and then moving forward. But we can't be future focused if we're just ignoring this present moment state of being of where we are. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And you know, the whole like bungee cord or the rubber band, you know, metaphor, I'm like, if your starting point continues to be the same, you will continue to keep returning to that starting point. And I think
Yeah.
that's the thing people just don't realize. So, yeah, when you gain that awareness, that's when you start to move your starting point. You know, you start to move forward. And so, when you do come back to those original patterns, they're actually, it's not going to be the same for you anymore. It won't be the same
Right.
experience. This is how you start to alter your behavior permanently instead of sort of slapping a band aid on it.
Right. I love that. So other than perhaps taking, a few days to think about it, do you have any other things that we could suggest to people who are really resonating with what you're saying and really are starting to notice, like, maybe I am a little too negative? What one or two things can we offer that would help, start to shift that mindset for people out there listening?
So, not to be super biased, but of course, I'm going to say work with a coach like you or me,
Right.
right?
Not to, you were smiling. Everyone, she was smiling right before, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a good answer. Right. Work with someone, and
Yeah.
it's okay to get
Hmm.
help. Work
Yeah.
with someone.
Work with a professional, a coach, a therapist. Find someone to talk to, not just your friend. Okay. So I'm going to say friends are great and all, but friends do not necessarily have the objective perspective that one might really need to start shifting their thinking. Okay. So talk to someone is better than talking to no one. But if you can, talk
Right.
to a professional. If you are not comfortable with either of those options, then I would say just go find some of those journaling packs, right? It's got like
Mm,
prompts in there for you to really explore and discover more about yourself. Go read some great books. Right now, there's a new book on my radar. It's called The Science of Stuck. And I would
mm-hmm.
say you could try that one, like read that one. But above all else, I'll say if you like to journal, if you like to reflect, then there are a couple of questions that I like to give everybody, which is ultimately, what is it that you really want out of your life? Like, what makes you happy? And it's okay if you don't know those things.
Right.
A lot of people don't know how to answer those questions. Those are really huge questions. So start at like the smallest level possible. Like, what makes you happy in the little moments, right? Day to day.
Right.
Who are the people that you feel good around and why? Like, why do they make
Right.
you feel good? Why are you
Right.
happy to spend your time with those people? What are the things that you like doing? And then, in terms of the things that you might not love about yourself, you might not like, and some of you might even say you hate about yourself. For me, I don't like that sometimes I get offended by other people
Mm,
so easily triggered. And it's because I have certain buttons in me, right? Just the person I am. We all have these buttons.
that's
And when
right.
I don't like those buttons, I'll be looking at those buttons as like, why are they even there? And so then the other question that is usually always helpful for people is, where did that come from? And
Such a
not,
powerful question. Hmm.
yeah, and not to make it like, oh, everything comes back to your childhood. But the truth is, a lot of things do come back to your childhood, right? We are people who live based on the past, unfortunately. A lot of us live
Yes.
continuously carrying our past forward. So if you ask yourself, where did this come from, right? Like, why do I always feel so threatened by other people saying something critical of me, right? Hmm, maybe it's because that's how I grew up. Grew up with parents who were extremely critical of me. And it wasn't even like a constructive, critical way where it's like, hey, you might want to do something this way instead of that way. My parents were like always very much like, this is wrong. You are wrong. Like, you are, tons of insert unkind language, lots of negative name calling. And yeah, so it's going to be a trigger for me. So just look at
Sure.
where's your reaction coming from and who are you actually upset at? Okay, so
Yeah.
we like to point the finger at other people, but we're actually usually upset with ourselves too.
Mm. So profound. I am a huge advocate of journaling and writing things out because it helps us let go. It helps us find those things, Joel, that you're referring to that could have happened in our childhood that perhaps we've repressed and that's created these trigger points. I mentioned this last week when I was presenting to a women's conference at how much it has transformed my life. And I would love their lives to be just as transformed because when we are writing things down, we're in the present moment. You can't be anywhere else. And that really allows things to flow. So even if it's for 5 minutes, it's a great way for us to bring us back to this initial point that I loved, that you are here and finding out these things about yourself that perhaps trigger you so that now that you're aware of them, working through those issues. I love everything that you've said. It's so profound.
Oh, thank you. And you know what I really love too is how you were talking about when you're writing something down, you are in the present moment, right? You're in the
Yep.
present act of writing. And so the reason why I tell people to either talk it out or to journal like optimally is because either way you are using the spoken word, you are using language to process through these potentially negative scenarios or experiences you have had. And
Yep.
so often what keeps us from actually letting go of these experiences and so that we can move on is because we haven't processed them. And so applying written language or spoken language to these experiences is actually a huge first step in that process. Like it's been scientifically proven that
Yep.
it helps you become happier because that's how our brains work. And so I'm like, I know a lot of clients, they don't like journaling. They don't like they're just, they've never been the type to be like, "Dear diary, today I felt," So
Or they say, I don't know what to write. And then I say, just write. I don't know what to write. Like it gets the pen moving, right? And it's just an open forum with yourself, like, dear me,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There's
It's
no
like
formality.
yeah, just talk about what upset you, what bothered you, what irritated you. And at some point you'll reach this awareness of like, huh, I wonder why. That
Yep.
allows you to get a little bit curious. And so you're not always going to stay stuck in that negative feeling. And I know that's one of the biggest fears. People are afraid to
Yeah.
commit anything to writing because they think that'll trap them in the negativity. And I cannot tell you that that is absolutely not the case.
The
When you talk
opposite.
about something negative, when you write about something negative, it actually has the opposite effect. This is what lets you start to heal and move forward.
That's right. And it's going to keep showing up in your life and trigger you until you can heal that. Right. And I've said this before when I've done presentations. If there's something bothering you so much in another person, but it's bothering you, there is something in you. They're holding a mirror to you. They're holding a mirror to that internal injury or trauma. And it's up to you now to let it go. Right.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yes, absolutely. It's when someone irritates the heck out of us, like I like to say, it's because you see a part of you in them, and that's what you
That's it.
really hate.
That's exactly it. You see a part of you in them. So what is it that I need to work on so it doesn't trigger anything anymore? It's so brilliant, Joel. I love this conversation. And, so I would think in your coaching practice, you do a lot of work from home. And, is there something that you put on during the day, like a piece of clothing or accessory that helps you get ready for your appointments that really makes you confident and help you feel that you're going to be that best person?
Okay, so couple of things. This is
Hmm.
gonna sound a little bit like, oh, of course she likes essential oils, but I absolutely love essential oils. And so my thing that I like to put on isn't even really visible, but you can smell it. So
Right.
I create roller balls with scents, essential oils mixes,
Yeah.
and sometimes I'll even place like a diffuser with a candle and I'll have the scent going on and on. But aside from that, which I know you can't see, the other thing is I am a huge jewelry person. I love jewelry so much. And so I like to throw on a necklace and my earrings. And my favorite, of course, is my wedding band set, which just makes me feel like a rock star. And
Oh,
yeah, it makes me feel blessed every day to realize I have my husband, and I'm a person who used to think, oh my gosh, like I've been in relationship after relationship. Nobody is working out for me. I've never felt truly happy. There must be something wrong with me. And so when I wear my
mm,
wedding band set, and just every single day, I'm so grateful to have my husband in my life.
I love that so much. Um, the exact right moment to state gratitude is that what you just said, right? Just being totally present and appreciating him and your relationship. And I think that is some advice that we're sharing here. Like everyone deserves to be happy, right? And it's just working through these issues to help us get there. Um, so I love your work. I love that we have this connection. And if someone wanted to reach out to you, Joel, where's the best place for them to find you? Um, Social media or otherwise? Where would you
Mm.
like them to connect?
Oh, thanks so much for the question. So, of course, you can always find me on my website, adviceactually.com. And if you would like to shoot me like a direct message or look at some of my other content, you're always welcome to look at my videos and my posts on Instagram and TikTok. It's the same handle. It's at ITS Jule Kim. So ITSJULEKIM on both platforms.
I will put those links in the show notes because I think everybody should be following you. I can't wait to watch your next TikTok video. I mean, these are things that we should be talking about today. It's so important. Mental health is so important, and it starts right here from our seats. So, Joel, thank you so much for making the world a better place. I appreciate you and the time that you took today. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Francesca.